Doing a camp with a bunch of your Year 11s,
Yeah.
and we've been telling them Christian stories from Australia. What's your passion for telling Christian story, the Australian Christian story, Poppy?
I can see, watching young people studying history at school, I feel like it can be a profoundly disempowering experience, and I think they can end up going away with a very depressed kind of perspective about it, and rightly so, because there's so much horror and violence, and very demoralising, I think, for young people. And it's important. It's an important part of our story to be truthful and to have the whole picture. But I think sometimes the way the syllabus works, it can end up just crushing young people, I think.
Wow, that's powerful
I
to
feel,
say.
Yeah.
So, how are you going to change that?
I can see that when I'm able to inject real people's stories into the broader picture, and particularly stories of people who have engaged in costly ways in society and brought about significant change for good, I think it has a very big impact.
Can you give an example?
I mean, every year when I have to talk about the civil rights movement, and then we get down to looking at individuals, I mean, it's your obvious example, but looking at the speeches of Martin Luther King are just so, they're very stimulating, I think, for young people to listen to, and it taps them into the bigger story too of God's work in the world, and his language is, obviously full of that. But I'm just trying to think of a few other examples that I use.
So you were saying you connect them to, like, John Harris's book and stories from the Indigenous people who were Christian.
That's
leaders.
right.
Yeah.
So I think I've really been disappointed with the ways that textbooks and often the documentaries that we use frame Christians and their involvement with our Indigenous brothers and sisters, and so I've tried to inject other things like particular stories of different missionaries and also Aboriginal people from John Harris's One Blood, or from the Australians Together videos that they've put together, but just real people who have had experiences of Jesus that have transformed them in the midst of what is a really complex and tragic story.
So you mentioned that there was a girl last night who said to you the stories, or had given her a new idea or a new thought.
Yeah, so after Paul and Frank, one of Paul's Indigenous friends, came and spoke to us, I asked a few students what they'd felt about it, and she said, she just said that, and I hadn't said anything, I didn't use the word hope, and that was the word she used. She just said that it was very different from what she often can come away from when you're hearing stories about interactions between Europeans and Indigenous people, and also I think just having a face that Frank's vision and passion and grace was very powerful. But she said that she felt like it was empowering for her to have a sense that young people can make a difference, young people can be involved in positive ways in their community and society, and to it kind of changed the story a bit for her in that hopeful sense. Yeah.
Beautiful.